Hi guys, my name is Adnan Hasbi and I'd like to welcome you to, this channel. I'm going through a whole rebranding, so I may be changing the name of the channel soon. So anyway, just to put things into context, it's a beautiful Saturday morning over here in Malaysia and I'm shooting this episode outside. Just wanted to, spread the joy all around. Anyway, in today's small episode, I'm going to talk a little bit about investing in your greatest assets, which is your gift. So I know I've talked about this not too long ago about how we should invest in our gifts. And one of the reasons why I actually brought up that particular or shot that particular episode was that I noticed that at that point in time, there was a lot of ads on how to invest in the stock market, how to invest in property, how to invest in all sorts of assets. And at that point in time, I still remembered there was a lot of fear. And I wanted to just come out and tell you guys that on a more personal note, I remembered that I was chasing so many things at one time and only to realize that the greatest asset or the greatest gift or the greatest thing that we can invest in is ourselves and our gifts. You know, I've seen metaphorically, it's like we travel all around the world to chase for that elusive goal, only to later find out that the greatest goal or the greatest treasure is right behind our back door. So, okay, to put this into an illustration, I remembered on a personal note, I remembered when I was growing up, I was talking to a lot of aunties, uncles on what's the best major to take, what's the best profession to take. And a lot of them were telling me, be an accountant, be a lawyer, be a banker, you know, all of this, and be a doctor, all of those, safe professions. And lo and behold, after getting a degree, I became an auditor. And eventually I became an analyst, so accountant and also banker. So I took the very safe route. And don't get me wrong, I really love the industry. I remember waking up very early in the morning. I remember chasing for great stocks. I remember looking at trends for the market. And I was a half-decent analyst. And at that point in time, I remember getting job offers from American banks, big global investment banks, and also big global investment banks over in Japan. And one of the reasons why I managed to be in that wonderful spot is that I found a passion, and I really love what I did, and I put 110%. And everyone that saw me could feel that in every inch of my skin, you can feel that there is love for what I've done. So over here, lesson number one is that when you love what you do and when you're passionate about it, everyone will know about it. And it's actually a form of advertising. And I'm sure in your life, you have seen some people which are really passionate in doing what they do. And when they do, and when they help you do, or when they help you solve a problem, you feel like, hey, this guy is pretty cool, you know. He actually loved what he does, versus someone that doesn't care. He's like, if he does it, whatever. If he doesn't do it, whatever. And I'm sure we can tell people which are passionate and not passionate. So I guess lesson number one is that when we do what we like, and if it's a profession, we can actually excel much faster and a much shorter span of time. So it comes to lesson number two right now, whereby after working in the fund management industry for a good 10 years, I invested in a company. I never told this story to anyone. So the audience right now, the live audience, you get to listen to this story right now with me. So when I worked in the industry, I remembered that a relative of mine came up to me and gave me a really good investment idea or really good investment tip. And I remembered actually investing in that particular company where my relatives asked me to invest in. And what happened was the partner for my relative actually ran away with all that money. And yeah, I was really distraught. And being an investor, that was the only skill I knew, is to invest. And I realized that after losing all the money, I realized that I couldn't do anything. I was so powerless, right? And that's where I switched. And that's where my life totally changed. And from being an investor right now, I really wanted to focus towards building assets. And that's one of the reasons why I fell out of love from the investment industry. And eventually I went into the entrepreneurial space. So I remembered going to the office after losing all that money. And I think after 10 years of liking my job, eventually life continues, and I went to my office, and I remembered every day when I went to the office, I didn't quite like what I did already. And even though I worked harder and harder and harder, and I kept punishing myself, I felt that no matter how much of effort or work I put in, I still didn't like the job. And when we do something that we don't quite like, that's where I guess we don't put 110%. And to tell you guys the truth, my career actually stagnated once I kind of fell out of love from what I've done. Okay, so that is a small little story about gifts, investing in your gifts, and a more personal story. And I think this couple of days, I was trying to figure out how to give you guys more examples, and I came up with a couple of examples. Number one, I have a buddy of mine that he went to Australia, and he had a degree in Australia, but I think he had an engineering degree. But what happened was that he really loved to cook, right? And I remembered, like, when he first came back from Australia, he bumped maybe 1, 2, or 3 years of his life, right? And I was like, I must be doing much better. But to his credit, he continued doing what he loved, and he eventually opened a restaurant somewhere in Bandar Utama. That was his first restaurant. It was such a smash hit. And he eventually opened a restaurant in Bangsa, KLCC. And that was him investing in his gift and also continue striving and making his gift a business. Today, he has multiple restaurants all around KL, and he owns also grocery shops. So this guy, right now, what he does right now is he travels all around the world, try food in different parts of the world, and he goes to his kitchen to tell his kitchen the concepts and ideas for dishes. And that is from investing in his gift, cooking. I got another friend, second friend of mine. This guy, he dropped out from college and he actually did websites. And I still remember that he was struggling. It was so difficult. In fact, there was one time he didn't even have a house, but he always focused on his gift. And and today, I was just talking to him, I think about 2-3 months ago. Today, he has his own company, and he is also working for a government-linked company. And his salary, my friends, are a lot more than a current CEO is getting paid. And this is him investing in his own gift. And I guess the third person, which I want to talk about, is my dancing friends. These guys from dancing, I still remember. They told me the story. In their youth, they were just dancing and didn't get much money. They only got 400-500 ringgit, not much. And then eventually, as they grew older, they got more experience. They knew the industry. They knew who their clients were. They started charging more and more and more. And today, they are one of the premier dancing companies. Every time when there's a wedding, they are the one to be engaged. And they also have a dancing school. And that's where I kind of met these people. So over here, I guess in my journey towards investing, trying to find the best ROIs and trying to find the best returns, I just want to say this, okay? I want to say that while we can get returns from stocks, we can get returns from real estate, I think the number one lesson which I learned throughout, I guess, this journey of self-discovery is that sometimes when we invest in ourselves, right, and we make a business in our gifts, right, and also when we really believe in ourselves, that's where amazing things happen. And sometimes I've seen people traveling everywhere to find the best investments, the best thing in the world, only to know and to find out later, much later, that there is a gift right at their backyard. So today, I know I've talked about myself, my friends which invested in their gifts. For you today, how you can translate this into action and to further, I guess, make this into a business is we always break things down into small actionable items. So over here, if after this episode, maybe open out a small empty notepad and write down, what do you love to do? Number one. Number two, write down, what do you love to do when you were a kid? Maybe when you were maybe 5 to maybe 12 or 13 years old. And the third thing is that after you write down what you love and what you love to do, write down what you like to read. From over here, you have a whole inventory of gifts and also passion and also talents that you have. And from then on, Google ways to make a business around it. So these are the small little tips I have for you today, which is investing in your gifts, doing what you love, and once you align your passion alongside with something you can monetize on, I think that's where a wonderful start will begin. A wonderful life will start to begin. Okay, guys, and with that, I'm going to end this episode. Sure, you can see a lot of neighbors walking around, kids running around. So I'd love to thank you for watching this particular episode. The live audience, I'd like to thank you so very much just hopping on and listening on this Saturday morning. And I wish the future audience also, thank you so very much. And I wish all of you guys the best of luck. I guess the final note I want to impart is we all have assets. You know, we have to just be brave enough and to take the small steps. And we will eventually have that life where we are the happiest and we are the wealthiest. Okay, guys, with that, take care.